Oh, sorry. Got it. So yeah, that was really that was really interesting. I thought it was cool.
The who brought the esports team to our school or what?
Yeah, he introduced the idea for them to create to have the esports because he was saying that every college has something that pulls them together. They have a team or some type of sports that make us feel like a team,
Right.
like a whole group. And
Yeah.
Full Sail didn't have that because everybody had their own degree programs, but we didn't have anything that kind of pulled us together. So he brought in the idea to bring in the esports and to allow that to be our thing that could possibly pull us together.
You remember what his name was?
I can find it before this is all done.
That's
It's still in my thing. I'll let you know in a minute.
yes. I mean, I was excited when I found
Hey,
out we had a
Stephanie.
team. We
Hi.
actually have a
Sorry.
really big if you get to go to campus for the induction ceremony, you should check out our arena. We have an esports arena that they
Yeah.
just built. They opened it like last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was last year. But it's pretty awesome. That's where we watch the Hall of Fame from all the students. Um,
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I was excited when I found out we had an esports team, and I was even more excited to figure out what esports was. Because,
Right.
like I
Exactly.
said, I'm older. That was all new for me. I'm like, there's professional, you know, like video game athletes.
Mm-hmm.
That's even, if that can be said. Like our parents would have never thought that. They always told us that video games rotted your brain.
Seriously. You know, I definitely think a lot differently today than I used to. Like, when you was younger, anything that was like for the future was always like, don't use that too much. Microwave,
Right.
the vacuum, like don't use the vacuum too much. Just sweep that. Like you have to learn the manual way. Now the way I think, I'm like, whatever, we're gonna keep moving forward. I need
Work
to learn the
smarter, not
newest
harder.
thing. Yeah. I'm
Work
like,
with
forget it.
technology.
When we switch, I'm switching. I don't want to live in the past.
Don't sit too close to the TV.
Man, all of that stuff, right? It's gonna ruin your eyes. You're gonna need glasses,
And
and then
now
you
we
end
have
up needing
VR
glasses
headsets with
anyway.
the screens like right here, right up
Yeah,
against the eyes.
Did you
serious.
guys know they had VR headsets in like the 80s or 90s?
Yes, it was weird looking. They were very weird looking.
Dude,
I
no.
didn't see them. I mean, you saw it in like sci-fi movies and stuff like that.
Dude,
Yeah.
no. Apparently, Austin's uncle had a set when he was like, I don't know, a teenager or something, way back in the day. Anyway, he's like, those things ran on like two colors. So it was like green and red, and it hurt so bad. He's like, you'd get migraines. You'd use it for like 10 minutes and be like, nope, I'm done. And that's why they discontinued making them for so long, just because it was hurting people and it was hilarious. Like in a bad.
Actually, now that when you just said that, I had a memory come back of me being at my cousin's house, and he had this game that was like a race car game,
Yep,
but it was like
exactly.
2-bit, and it
Yep,
was like all you saw was the lines for the sides of the road, and then
yep.
you had this little Indy car in the center of it, and you just
Hmm.
kept it in between the lines, and it was like a racing game, and it
Yep.
was a VR game. Like you put the you put it over your head, and you just saw this. I mean,
It's
I mean,
crazy.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's
I
crazy
wish
how
we could
things have
call that
evolved.
VR, not to today's standards anyway.
Oh, I know, right? Agreed. It's crazy. It's a lot different.
It's like the
Man,
difference between old 3D movies and new 3D movies.
Yeah, for real.
never mind.
I do know that Michelle and Garrett aren't gonna make it tonight. Haven't heard anything from Angel in a bit, and Sam's busy today, so I think this might
I'm
be it
gonna
for
reach
tonight.
out to Angel to check on him and just make sure he all right. The last time I talked to him, he didn't seem like he was doing so well. So I'm gonna just check on him.
Okay. Last time I heard from him, I know he said he was either moving or about to have a baby. So I know there was a lot going on for him.
Yeah.
I'm just ready for this tooth pain to go away.
Yeah.
I hear you. Did you see my chat about it?
Your chat?
Yeah, sorry. I type in the chat when Milo's having a fit. He's still getting over being sick, so he will come in and just be like, "Mom, mom," and whine, and I feel bad.
Oh, I didn't
I
even
try and
see.
mute myself. So I was typing in the chat when he was having a bit of a moment.
I had my window closed.
You're okay.
I always forget to look in the chat, and then I've been looking for the name of this guy for D. For
Yeah,
I
I
just
do the
like all
water
these
one.
D
I didn't
rolls.
know about the
Forget it.
bio.
I'm too confused. I be trying to remember to call him Danny now, and then my mouth just want to say D Rose.
You can say either one.
I'm
I
like, I just like D Rose.
It's funny. I always say I'll answer to anything that starts with a D, because everybody calls me something different because there's so many shorts for Daniel. Um, and I said that I was dating this girl one time, and like a week after we started dating, her son asked me, what do I call you, Danny, Daniel, or whatever, and I said I'll answer to anything that starts with a D, and then he called me Daddy, and that was very awkward. So
Understandably so.
I learned my
I
lesson.
right.
Don't say it to girlfriends' sons
Yes,
or kids.
that's funny.
He probably thought it was really sweet though. That kid was
Yeah, he
just like,
did.
"Oh."
He was like 7 or something like that at the time.
Yeah, I don't think he meant anything bad.
No,
But
he did. We got a good joke. We got a good laugh out of it. Though. It was pretty funny. His at the same when he asked that, uh, all of that happened. We were at Chick-fil-A, not Chick-fil-A, KFC, eating, and his mom almost choked on her mashed potatoes when he said that. It was pretty funny.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
But with the tips that I was saying in the chat and stuff, I didn't know about the irrigating with room temperature water. And when they pulled mine, they didn't stitch it closed or anything. They put a temporary packing in it that fell out later that day.
Ooh.
So I was getting like soup and salt, and like I wasn't eating anything hard, but all those like not like minerals, but anything that's like small and there was getting caught in that socket and drying it out like internally. And
Dry
that
socket.
was a lot of pain. Yeah. So if you have like a kid's syringe for medicine and stuff, fill that with like room temperature water and irrigate it like 5 times a day, like in between meals, before, after you go to bed, all that. And it helps so much. That was the first thing to help me get the pain to go away quickest.
Yeah, I do the. They gave me this mouthwash stuff to do it with, and it helps, but it told me not to only do it like twice a day.
Yeah, the mouthwash has not alcohol in it, but it's got a protective thing in it, but that stuff can burn and dry it out and cause dry socket too. So the water helps moisturize and also wash out the stuff without irritating.
It was rough. Like
It is.
I'm I'm glad you guys bared with me last week. I was MIA last week. I couldn't do anything last week. It was rough.
You're
And I
good.
had a this professor. Oh my goodness. Speaking of, um, I have, I'm in audio arts, so like we have to listen to stuff a lot. And I was doing this project last week, and it was to analyze this track and break down all the components and stuff. And I couldn't. I had this because my wisdom tooth. I had this ear infection, because it was this whole side of my face, and I couldn't listen to anything because it was just painful. And I sent him a message on Sunday telling him that I wasn't going to be able to finish. Like I was only halfway done with the assignment, and I was just in so much pain that I couldn't finish it. And this guy, all he did was repeat his policy, his late work policy to me, that which I already knew, you know. And some professors are better than others. Like I've had some stuff come up in the past, and a lot of them are more than willing to work with you. Um, like all that stuff that happened when I came down for Hall of Fame, my professor was really, really nice about it. But this professor, man, some of them are hard nosed. Like, here's the line, don't cross it. And that's unfortunately that's who I had this month. But yeah, it was rough.
I'm sorry you experienced that. I ran into two like that so far, and It reminds me that that's kind of how it is out in like the work world and stuff too. But it's a harsh reality if not all people are empathetic and everything.
Yeah, and that was one of my topic when I was thinking about topics to talk about in the social hour tonight, was how to stay professional in situations where you might not want to stay professional, and that was one of them. Like I sent him a reply, and it was really professional. I was like, I appreciate you know everything that you do, and I'm going to go ahead and submit it, because it was like his late work policy was the first day he took 10 points off, the second day he took 20, and the third day he took 40, and so I submitted it on Monday because I wasn't it was already halfway done. It was only halfway done, so I knew I wasn't going to get a good grade on it, and the late work deduction would have probably made it fail. So I told him, I said, well, I'm going to submit it as is. I understand that it's not complete, but taking into consideration your policy, I'm going to go ahead and submit it, let's see, and I ended up getting a 78 or something like that on it, so it wasn't that bad. But and that brings me to my point that I was thinking of earlier of, staying professional helps even in situations like that, because his when he graded it, even though he told me up front was his policy, and it kind of sounded like, I don't know, what would you call it, passive aggressive ish. When he graded it, he didn't give me the deduction for the late turn in, so he didn't give me the -10, and he told me that, and so and I thanked him for it. So it helps even in those situations where you're like, this person's being unreasonable. It helps to stay professional, because that helped me. If I had like went off on him or something like that, or was unprofessional or something like that, I probably would have had the he would have hit me with everything he could, and he probably would have hit my GPS as well. So it always helps to stay a pro. And you're right, it's just like the work field is. Like, some people are going to be easier to work with than others. So how we respond to that matters.
Yep. And all we can control is our own like actions and stuff. Like, I know last December, before I joined NSCS and everything, beginning of December and end of December, I got really, really sick. End of December, I had a kidney infection, UTI, and like 3 other things. I think like a kidney cyst, a ovarian cyst, like 2 other things. But I was in the hospital for like 3 days, and I was throwing up for like a week and a half, and I was just dehydrated and miserable and in and out of the hospital. And we were supposed to do our finals for graphic principles. So we were doing a lot of photo editing, and oh God, it was hard. We had like a 12-page like file that required so many steps that we had to do for each little task in each of these pages. And there was like 4 or 5 tasks per page. There was just so much all at once for our final. And I messaged the teacher. I'm like, I can't even get through like the first 3 pages with my eyes open or being able to sit up. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to complete this. And they gave me the entirety of Christmas break. They're like, you have until like the end of the first week of the next semester to finish this. And I'm not worried. I ended up getting like an 89, like a 98, and I didn't even finish it entirely. So yeah, I reached out a bunch of times and kept them posted, but I think that's the biggest thing. Like, even with bosses or work or anything, it's just always reach out and be open and communicative of your situation, because, in a sense, bosses and like, shouldn't say employees, but like your team, wherever you are, is going to need you to some extent. So they need to understand your limitations and stuff, and in order to be able to adapt, to still be able to work with you and like just benefit everybody involved, if that makes sense.
Yeah, communication is really important. In any field, it's important to be able to communicate with people, and with people that you might not want to communicate with. Like, there's always people. I tell my daughter, is turning 13 this year, and she's getting to that teenage attitude stage, and
Ooh, fun.
yeah, and she's every time she's so dramatic, so dramatic. And she comes home from school, yelling about some teacher doing this or that, and I'm like, look, our entire life, you're gonna have to deal with people that you don't want to deal with.
Yep.
That's just part of life, and you're gonna have to be the bigger person and be able to, figure out how to deal with it. And everybody's way of dealing with it is different, and you just have to deal with it and accept the consequences of how you deal with it. That's important too, because if you can be somebody that has that loose tongue that's going to tell them what you think, but it might get you in more trouble than you want it to, and then on the other hand, some people might respect that. So it all depends on who you're dealing with.
And I think practicing self control in any situation is a power play in itself, because you can't just be reactive to anything that happens to you if you're not really taking the time to really assess what's happening. You actually put yourself in a position to lose big when you are just reactive. So
Yep.
definitely win being professional and just taking a minute and like assessing the situation. You come out better in the end in that way.
Yeah, because I was aggravated when that just the way he responded to it, annoyed me, because it was like he just all he did was repeat the same thing that's in the syllabus, his
Right.
policy. And it's like, I already know that. I'm coming to you because I figured this was a special circumstance,
Mhm.
I mean, I literally can't listen, and you have an assignment that tells me I need to listen. And so, but I just swallowed my aggravation and put a smile on, and I actually I was a little passive aggressive in my reply. I was like, "Thank you for understanding," even though in my eyes he wasn't understanding. But it was I said it nicely. So there's ways to use how you reply to things and how you say things. There's a way to say it, and there's a way to not to say it.
Yes.
I
That
think
part.
there.
But yeah, so yeah, staying professional. That's I guess that's gonna be my tagline for today. How's everybody's week 4 going? Everybody's in week 4 right?
Yeah, I just finished 2 assignments, and I'm going into another course where I have 2 classes at the same time. So, and they're both like pretty hard. So I'm trying to figure out my time management skills this week. Well, this month.
Do we not get a break after this class? I thought some break was coming up.
We do. It's at the end of July.
Yeah, it's at the end of
This
July.
one in July?
Oh, it's the end of July. Okay, so we have one more class.
Yeah.
I'm like, where is that though?
It's coming. I've been waiting on it.
Yeah,
I hear
I'm
you
waiting
guys.
on it.
I believe in us. We'll get through it. We've gotten this far. There's no way we can stop now.
I've actually got something I can share. It's on my other screen right here. It's my final project for this month. If everybody likes some music, let's see if we'll share screen, share audio as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Make sure you press the optimization buttons on the Zoom. It should be to your left at the
Optimize
bottom.
for share sound.
Press both of them.
Both of them. Okay.
So
That's it.
I like that. That's very cinematic. Like I see
Mhm.
it in the movie. I was trying to like picture what was happening.
Yeah, that was the goal.
Yeah.
It was a epic orchestral cue, is what it is.
Right.
And that's my final project for this month. Because this is one of my project and portfolio classes, so this will be going on my website,
Mhm.
which is awesome. Like I love the project and portfolio classes because we actually get to make music. All the other classes are like how to use the software
Yeah.
and
Logistics and stuff.
book work and a lot of reading and discussion questions and stuff. But these classes are like you actually get to do what you want to do. So it's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
That's what I like
Yeah.
about the portfolio classes too. Only thing with me is my portfolio classes have shown me how confused I have been. Cause when cause when I keep building stuff, it's like, okay, so this is the story. I when I was in about 2001, right? My first business I ever attempted was a record label. I had artists, all of that. Things didn't go right. I ran, right? Because I got my feelings hurt. So I ran away from it and I started to do hair, which I had been doing hair, but I never really wanted to do it. So I had been doing hair this whole time, not wanting to do it until the pandemic, right? Was supposed to go to Full Sail way back then. Once the pandemic set me down, I got back into Full Sail. And so I'm all excited about Full Sail, but I went for digital marketing because I'm definitely passionate about marketing. But I'm also running away from music, right? But this how you know the universe is gonna have you do what you're supposed to do no matter what you think you planned. Because before I even started my first class, I ran into 3300 in climbing, which is an artist development initiative. I became a part of that group and I've been doing music. I've literally been getting 2 degrees, even though I don't really get the degree for music. But through them, I have been taking music classes. I think I know all of the teachers in the music business program. And all I know is some of my teachers in the marketing program. And it's like over this time, when you look at my portfolio and my website, it was so confusing. Like my teachers was like, okay, it's like they was trying to coach me to be like, so do it this way. But every time I'm talking about like what I want to do and I'm describing it, it's so confusing because I was confused. So most of my projects I probably got to redo because I went from just like trying to focus on marketing. And then I was like, no, maybe public relations because I like them both, but it still
Mhm.
wasn't the thing. It wasn't until I got to this point now where I'm like, music is what I love, but I also love marketing. I decided that that's the industry. I'm going to do my marketing and music. That stuff started making sense. So now I got to go back and look at all these projects and make them make sense because if you look at them now, I'm so embarrassed. Like,
We figure it out as we go along. I,
yeah, I'm
I
so
figured that out
embarrassed.
myself. Like there's we figure out what jobs there are that we can do.
Yeah.
Like for you, I think A&R would be perfect.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what Israel told me.
yeah,
Yeah, I would love that. I would.
A&R would be right up your alley because that's pretty much
I
what you do.
tried to run away from being a manager, and it just so happened I'm actually managing one of the artists that we had through 3300. She asked me to be her manager. I was like, what? Like, I'm like, but how could I say no? Because she's
Get
so
it?
dope.
Heck yeah.
She's super dope. But we didn't already sign paperwork and everything. But here
Nice.
I am, full circle. Like literally, when I tell y'all my dreams from high school have come back full circle, and I'm literally finding myself right now on the exact same path I ran away from those years
Mm.
ago. Ain't that crazy?
I'm reading
Wow.
a series by Robert Jordan called Wheel of Time right now.
Hmm.
And they say the the will weaves as the will wills.
Hmm.
And so you can't run away from what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
Man, listen. You look crazy.
So
Listen, let me be
true.
the example. You look crazy when you do.
It's okay.
Everybody who's looking past probably look like she crazy. She don't know what
I
she want to do. It's just happening this way. It's like,
I came into this wanting to make music, and that was it. I didn't have any specific ideas. And as I'm going into it, I love orchestral work. I love film music, and and that's where my heart is going to end up being. So that's
I can see you making scores for movies, and I would take that CD and play it in my car every single day and play it on like everything. Just like it's a vibe. I love what you did. That was really
Bump
cool.
it.
It was very storytelling. I liked it. You got this, Danny.
Thank you.
Yeah, I loved how like the melody transferred from different, orchestral sections. And that's something that I always love when I'm listening to orchestra music, how that melody transfers and then how the harmony supports it. And I kind of I got like a Game of Thrones vibe. I don't know if that's what you were thinking of, but like a fighting scene, that's what I saw.
What they do is they give us a reference. They give us a list of tracks that we could choose from. We could either do a cover of a track or do an emulation. And to do an emulation means to do something that you could tell that it was inspired by said track, but it's not said track.
Yeah.
So it's more of an original composition, and that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do a cover. I wanted to do an original composition. So the actual track that I chose to emulate. Let me see if I'll pull it up real quick.
Real quick sidebar while we're talking about like feeling and looking crazy. I think all of the best people end up looking crazy. Like somebody once told me you have to be odd to be number one. And I'm like, that's awesome. We're all gonna rock this because we're odd enough. We're just gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have faith in it.
Yeah, the ones with the quirks, they're the ones that lead everything. They're the ones that people look to for like guidance and stuff. Like a lot of my good friends that are living their dreams, they're so quirky and I love them for that. Like they're just so unique.
That's true. That's true. I feel like the quirky people keep the world going too, especially in times like sadness or darkness, like right now with so much unsurety and people feeling unsafe and everything. I feel like the ones that are brave enough to be like the outlier or the black sheep or anything like that, and just to like not necessarily take that cross and run with it, but like to be that person to protect others and stand up for others, I think is really cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like, I think it's a Robert Frost poem, The Road Less Traveled or The Road Not Taken, something like that. I've always, when I first heard that poem, that stuck with me. And I was like, I want to be that person that travels that road less traveled. And I hope I find somebody along the way that I can get inspired from.
You talking about Robert Frost?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love that poem.
Our class had that as our class poem. So yeah, totally relate. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love how D-Rose, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off again, but I just love how you always know when people are talking about like quotes and books and stuff. I love how you can always reference or know. Like, I think that's so dope. I just wanted to point that out.
You talking to me?
Yes.
About me?
I'm talking about
you. I got like a library right behind me.
I can believe it because I don't care what nobody brings up, a quote, a book. He done introduced us to like stuff that I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I think that's really dope, and I just wanted to say that.
I've always been well read. I love reading.
I can tell. That's really cool.
This is the track that I chose to emulate, and you could hear. And what you were talking about, Michelle, like moving from section to section, really hear it. So yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I can hear it all.
see it
I can
too.
hear it.
He
And,
definitely captured the vibe, right?
yeah, it's just a
Absolutely.
vibe. And my professor was like, we did a rough draft. We sent in a rough draft last week for him to check out. And he told me I've already nailed the emulation part. Now I've just got to like massage all of the pieces in, and make sure that all of my mixing and mastering and all that stuff is done good. So I have until Sunday to finish it up.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean that's my goals. That's a lot better than what I'm doing right now. But that guy's
what you have is a really good start, and
It
I really like it. I love how you captured the, like I said, the melody transition from section to section, telling the story, and then the 16th notes, the da 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 da, and then the crescendos, like the climactic part, like, and then also just the different nuance of, oh, I love orchestra, man. I'm telling you, like, I love it. Like, it goes from like a pianissimo to a fortissimo, like in a matter of seconds. I love stuff like that. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's where my heart is too. Like I like,
and the staccato and the rhythms, and oh my god, it's just
that
like
part,
a whole
yes.
vibe.
Legato, staccato everywhere. I can see all the accents through
The
it.
drumming and the everything, just the way it builds. Like I love the mood shifts and how like you felt like you were feeling it. Like to me, I'm just like, oh, I'm with it. I'm here. I don't know, the details were amazing. So
yeah,
like,
I was marching right with it.
Yeah, I don't know what you need the buff, dude. Like, I feel like you're done. Like, dude, they sounded so similar when you started it. I'm like, are you sure you're not like playing your own with just like a CD picture?
I thought the same thing,
we're
Rachel.
so similar. I'm like, you've got this, dude.
Yeah, it's I mean, I still need to do a little bit of work on the mixing and everything. You got to make sure with our degree program, you got to make sure that you're not overpowering the different frequencies and stuff. Like you got to make sure it's well mixed for any system. Like if you're listening to it on a cell phone, you should be able to hear the core of it on the cell phone without the low end drowning it out. And stuff like that. Just minute details. But I should be done with it by Sunday. I've been working on it. Last week I couldn't work on it at all. Like I didn't. I had one day last week where I was medicated and actually I was drunk too, because that helped with my tooth.
It does.
It did.
Tell the truth.
It started by me just swishing alcohol in my mouth, and I just happened to swallow it. That's what I told myself.
As long as you're safe about it, it's fine. We're all adults. It's okay.
But I got a good night's work in, and I got most of that you just heard was done that night. But this week, since I've had my tooth pulled, I've been working on it every night. So it's getting there. It's almost done.
That's
awesome.
But yeah, it's 9:07, so I guess that's our social hour, guys.
I'll say, yeah, we just kept going. We're doing
good.
Yeah.
I will take this and chop it up and make it presentable, and I guess Thursday for the officers meeting.
Cool. Sounds good.